Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's take a look at another Gundam Converge set here. This is Gundam Converge Series 16, and there's some pretty cool mobile suits in here. If we take a close-up look here at the box, you can see we have the Unicorn Gundam 02 Banshee Norn in destroy mode. We also have the Neo Gundam. That would be this guy here in the center, if anyone's unfamiliar with that, like myself. We also have the Gundam Vertigo over there. And then in the back we have the GOG, and then the Dananzan, and then the Dananzan, what is that, the Black Vanguard type there, so two different versions. I think that's actually the Black Vanguard type, this would be regular Dananzan. Anyway, so some pretty cool mobile suits in here. Now this is, once again, just a box of 10, so what it's going to be is that we'll have doubles of all but two of them. And considering the Dananzan has two different versions, means we'll have one of each of those, and then two of everything else. So this is just how you can buy them sometimes online as just a box of 10 like that. I think it's pretty good if you want to get a set and you share your doubles with your friends, or if you want to do custom paint schemes on them. It's nice to have doubles because you can keep one in the original color scheme and then repaint one into a different custom color scheme or something like that if you want. But so here's what you're gonna get when you open the box. You can see we've got two Banshees, two Neos, two Vertigos, two Gogs, and then one each of the Dananzan. So we'll take a look at these in numerical order as always here, starting off with the Banshee Norn. And now I'm also going to be interested to see how this is going to compare to the regular Banshee, which came out in a previous set not too long ago. So you can see here on the box we've got a look at just what the figure is going to look like, all put together and everything. A couple close-ups there of some of the colors, not really a very colorful design obviously. And just all around on the sides of the box, the top of the box there, the underside of the box, opposite side of the box, and on the back of the box just to look through the whole series. So if you were in a store or something and you saw a shelf that maybe just had this one, but you can see, oh, you really wanted to have a GOG, you could search out a GOG. And yeah, as far as I know, these series, they just don't have the secret versions anymore. As far as I know, I don't think that they're doing that anymore, unfortunately, which is sad. They are still doing the gum, but the secret versions were cool, where they'd have just different color versions of some of these. So maybe like for this set, maybe one of the secret versions, or the secret version could be like a final battle version of the Norn, where just the psycho frame is in green or something instead. Something like that. It's usually just a recolor, and that's pretty much it. But you can see we got the base plate there, the rifle, V-fin, other part of the V-fin, the shield, and then the armed armor XC backpack, is it right? I think that's right, XC, and then the main mobile suit here. So let's get this open and see what it looks like. Alright, so here is how it's going to look, and overall it does look really nice. The details on it look good, the painting overall looks pretty good. I like that, it all looks nice. It will definitely benefit from a little bit of detail painting, just painting in some of these little bits in gray and things like that. Some little details there, but once again the eyes are a little bit crooked. It's going to be maybe a little bit hard to see, but it makes the whole face look a little bit off, just because the parts set in there for the face are just a little bit off center. And so depending on the way you look at it, I don't know how obvious it is, but it's definitely obvious in person that it just looks a bit strange. And so with the past few sets, I don't know, with recently past year or so, I've been a little bit disappointed. There's always one or two in every series where the quality control just seems like not quite totally there. It's small things, like something like that, just the face being a little bit off center. But when it's the face, that's like one of the main points, like, you know, you want it to look good. If that's wrong, then like the whole thing's gonna look kind of goofy. But the detail overall is there. You can see there's some bits where the psycho frame should be painted, but it's not. So again, just painting some of those little details in, trying to match the color of that psycho frame. Maybe a little bit tricky, but that'll definitely just make it look that much better. Now let's have a little comparison here with just the regular Banshee. The color is similar, but it's not quite exactly the same. It looks like on the original Banshee the color was just a little bit lighter. The psycho frame looks the same, and the gold also looks slightly different as well. Just the dark blue and the gold both seem a little bit lighter on the original Banshee, a little bit darker on the Banshee Norn there. But anyway, they still make for a pretty cool set. But alright, so then number 213 here is the Neo Gundam. We've seen out recently a bunch of different ones here from the F90 series, and so this one will just be continuing that. This will be the RX-99 here, and so it's looking pretty nice. Let's get it open, see how it's going to look when it's all put together. So we've got our gum there, and once again there is the base plate, the rifle there, it looks like big giant gun that it's got, the V-fin, the backpack parts, and then the main body here. Alright, and here he is, looking pretty nice. The face is better in this case on this one, but this one's got a kind of weird lean, like the body and torso and the legs, there's like kind of a weird lean to it. So you can see the foot is not, this other foot is not rested completely. This is the foot that's pegged to the base, which is flat. That's good. Then this foot is a little bit raised off of there because it's not going to stand straight. The long end of the barrel of the rifle is a little bit bent, but that's okay. That just kind of tends to happen when you have longer parts like this. That's pretty usual, not a big deal. But you can see there's a lot of details in there that would definitely benefit from getting some panel liner in there. Just giving this a coat of just gloss coats, going in there and filling in all little details with some panel lining, liquid paint, or whatever you're going to use for that will definitely help bring out all those little details, and that's going to look really cool. So the details on this do look really nice. The molding on it is very good. Once again, we have some parts that are just a little bit misaligned, unfortunately, so we'll have to do what we can to try to fix those. But overall, the design is really super cool. I love this gun too. Hopefully it'd be cool to get a kit of this someday. I don't know how likely that is to happen, but it would be pretty awesome. It's a pretty interesting design. Speaking of interesting designs, up next here we have the Gundam Vertigo. So a model here from Gundam X, and it looks pretty awesome. The Vertigo is a really interesting design. It has its arms sort of similar to the Gundam Ultron, with the kind of arms that stretch out, and it even has sort of dragon claws on the end there, similar to that as well. So this one I think is gonna be definitely pretty cool. So let's get this opened up, get our gum out. And once again, we've got the base plate there, the beam effect part, the V-fin, and the backpack, and then the body. Now the main body and the colors and even the backpack to some degree are also very reminiscent of the Gundam Epyon. So it's sort of like a mix of the Epyon and the Ultron, and just sort of then also tweaked a little bit in terms of its design. So pretty interesting. But alright, and then once again, he's still looking very cool, but you can see both of the red kind of ears there on the top are going to need to be straightened out there. Both of those got a little bit curved, and then also on his faceplate there, it got a little bit scuffed up, so we'll have to do some repainting on just that little bit there. But once again, the details all look fantastic. Once you get all these details filled in, maybe throw on just a couple of just little marking decals and things like that on there as well, especially back here on the wings. All that nice space there on the wings where you could throw a couple little tiny little details on there that'll look really cool. But yeah, so the molding on it looks great. The pre-painting overall looks pretty good as well. Looks nice. And this one, fortunately, the fitting of everything looks pretty good. Everything looks to be all lined up. It's just the fact that these parts here got a little bit curved in the box, but once those are straightened out, everything should look really nice. Okay, then on to the one that I'm probably looking forward to the least in here is the GOG. Not really a big fan of the GOG design, but that said, the last few sets that have included one of the older 1 Year War Zeon suits, they've all been pretty awesome. So like we had the new Zaku 2 Converge figure, as well as we had the Zagok. And what else? There's been a couple other ones, but they've all been really nice. So as much as I'm not really that big into the GOG, I think this Converge figure should look pretty cool. Alright, and yeah, I gotta say, I am not disappointed actually. This is actually quite cool and very nicely detailed. If you look up underneath the shoulders there, you got some nice detail. The hands are really nicely sculpted and nicely detailed. Just in terms of just the overall finished product of this, I mean, whether you like the design or not, just objectively, I think this is probably one of the better ones in the bunch, just in terms of the molding and details and everything. The fit of everything is definitely a good quality figure here. The mono eye can also turn if you just poke that. You can also turn the mono eye a little bit to the sides. That's pretty cool. And some people do occasionally ask me about the mobility of these, the articulation of these when I do these Converge videos, and they're not really meant to be really articulated, but most of the times you can rotate the arms a little bit. In this case, you can actually rotate the arms something like this as well, or I guess if you wanted to do some sort of pose like he's gonna give you a big old hug, something like that. So you can see, once again, just filling in some of these details will make this look even better, and plenty of free space on here, like up on the shoulders, something like that, to put a Zeon logo marking on there. Some waterside decal on here as well will look really nice, and this one will probably be a cool one to repaint as well, to use your spare if you get the box of 10 to repaint it in a different color scheme would be pretty awesome as well. So actually pretty impressed here with the GOG. Nice one. Oh, also I did want to show you this too. They're always really nicely detailed up underneath the feet as well. All of them are all, they have full detail underneath the feet, as well as just if you keep it on the base, obviously you're never going to see that, but they are really nice if you want to do it in some other different pose or something. Just using a brass rod or even a small plastic rod would probably be enough to hold this up. Just stick that into there instead and have it flying or swimming. Of course, something like that would be pretty nice. Alright, then up next, of course, we got the Denanzan here. It's also looking really nicely detailed. This one, once again, is a design I'm not really that big into, personally, but the figure here does look really nice. And I'm wondering what those goggles are gonna be like, or just the eyes, I guess, but goggle looking eyes. Let's check this out and see. So we've just got the base, the lance there, and then the main body, so that's gonna be pretty much it, pretty simple. And so here it is. And so it's pretty funny how the designs that I'm not really the most into originally usually end up being some of the nicer figures in this series, and this one is really looking nice. So if you're a fan of the Dananzan, man, this is a really nice looking one. I gotta say, the details of it look really good, the fit is perfect on this, everything looks really just right, so it ends up being a really nice figure here. And just again, you can imagine just filling in all these little details in there. This is gonna look really nice. The goggles there, the eyepieces are in nice clear blue. Those look really good. So this is a really nice figure. And I like the little bits of metallic. So of course you have the hands in a kind of gunmetal color. That's pretty common for these, but then the little joints in there, the hoses up underneath the chin there. So while it's like just kind of all gray, the two-tone gray and then the metallic bits around in there as well just really help to break that up. And it looks really nice. So then that brings us to the last in the set here, the black Vanguard version of the Dananzan. Now the molding of this is going to be all exactly the same as far as I know. It's not going to be anything different about the actual plastic shapes of anything. It's just going to be, in this case, that it's in a different color or different colors. So we'll get this popped open, and here we go. Once again, just the same stuff in here. So let's just get it put together. But then here it is, and this one as well, looking really nice. So that metallic purple looks really cool, especially with that clear blue for the eyes in there inside. Looks really nice. So you have this really dark, it's not black, it's just a really super dark purple. It's not quite like to black, it's almost there basically, but as you can see, like, we do have some parts in black, like the little thruster bells there, those are black, and so it's not quite exactly there, but the colors look really nice. And once again, you have the little tiny bits of metallic part, gunmetal, like in there, and even for the little vents on the chest, the little tiny yellow part there at the front looks nice. And just for a comparison to see them side by side, here you can see how those are going to look. So really cool, and you can just imagine how much better these are going to look once they're pen aligned, detailed up, and throw in a couple waterside decals on there. Again, like I've been saying the whole time, these are going to look fantastic, so really liking those. So that is it for volume 16, guys. A pretty awesome set with a really nice mix. You got some UC in there. Well, so it's pretty much almost all UC except for the Vertigo from Gundam X. But you've got a pretty good range of UC there, from the very early to the very late range of the UC timeline. So again, just a nice mix of mobile suits here in this set. Definitely cool to get a whole box. And like I said, as I always recommend to you guys, if you would like to get, you know, a good amount, if you want the full set, or if you want like 4 or 5 of them anyway from the set, and getting a box of 10 is nice, and you can just share the price maybe with a friend or a couple friends and just share them amongst yourselves, you know, pick and choose who wants which ones, things like that. So it's, I think, usually a good idea to get a box of 10. In my case, I usually end up giving the doubles, the extra ones that I have, away to my Patreon patrons. But this is another great addition to the Converge collection, so looking forward to the next set. As always, guys, if you have questions or comments about these, feel free to leave those down below. Let me know which ones are your favorites from this series. And as always, guys, have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.